Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Paint by Minis. My name's Adam and this is just going to be a really quick video this week, and it's just for all the people off the Ork video that wanted to see how I did the bases. Now I have to admit I didn't really go into doing these bases thinking that it would be a repeatable thing that I would show people. It was just a really quick base that I threw together to complement the Orks. So with that all said, let me show you how I did them. So if any of you have seen any of my previous videos, you know that I am a sucker for the combination of Vallejo texture paint, small little stones and pieces of cork which you can use to rip up as bigger boulders or stones. So that's all I did here, and as you can see it creates a very effective little base with very minimal effort. And the best thing here is the Vallejo texture paste acts as a glue, so you don't need to wait for it to dry and then glue any materials in. You can literally spread it on a base and then push all the other elements into it so they look really natural and embedded. And then it's just a case of spraying the whole thing with a grey primer. So my whole goal with this base was to make it look as natural looking as possible, and for that I wanted to really encapsulate a dirty kind of dusty environment. So the best tools to accomplish that is pigments. So the first one I'm using here is a dark rust colour by Humbrol. You can use any similar coloured dark red rusty colour, doesn't have to be the Humbrol brand, this is just the one that's the easiest available to me here in the UK. So all I did was take a small part of the pigment out of the pot and put it into a separate little dish, and I'm actually just going to use some mineral spirits here to mix in with the pigment powder. They don't fully form together, they don't fully mix in, the pigments will be loose in the white spirit and that's not a problem. I just find it much easier to apply the pigment wet, and the mineral spirits will completely evaporate, leaving no residue behind. So it's the perfect tool if you want a dry looking pigment, but like me don't want to deal with the pigment dry because it just gets absolutely everywhere. So once it's all mixed as well as it can be, it's just a simple case of dotting it over the base. And once the mineral spirit has all evaporated, we are left with a dry pigment that is semi-adhered to the surface. So to add to the dustiness feel and tint the colour a little bit, we are going to use a couple of oil paints here. We're going to use burnt umber and titanium white. We're just going to mix these in 50-50 ratio, thinning again with the mineral spirits into a very wet mix. You want this moving really freely in the dish that you mix it in. And then again, just a case of dotting this all over the previous layer that we did. So this is that layer dried now, and as you can see it looks much dustier. And next up we're going to do a very similar process, this time just with the burnt umber, again diluted to about the same ratio, so very thin, and we're just going to dot this again over the previous layer. You want to include little patches where the pure dust is showing through just to add a little more visual interest. So after painting the rim black we are finished. I hope this has helped you lot who were asking for how the bases were done. Again, like many things that I do, it's a very simple base and can be mass produced for an army. Hopefully this inspires you to try this base or something similar. So take care guys, and I'll see you next time.